Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Luke Middlebrook. We're going to be talking tonight about online courses that we'll be offering at O'Farrell this next school year. We have some current foundations at our school. We are an AVID National Demonstration School. We're WASC accredited. We have different foundations and different organizations that have put a lot of trust in us as a charter school. And with that, we have performed. We will continue performing. And we will do that by making sure that we have integrity to what we believe in as a school and as an organization. Some of the main pillars of our education can be found with common standards from the online community. These are 3 standards that I think directly align with the foundation that we have as an organization. These can all be found on the CLRN.org website. The CLRN is the California Learning Resource Network. It's a resource for teachers who are trying to incorporate online learning into their classroom. It provides dozens upon dozens, even thousands of resources for teachers who are trying to make the shift to online learning. So without further ado, this is 3A. So this is from the actually online standards. So we want to make sure that every time a student goes online, this is a standard brought by the CLRN. 3A. The course content and assignments are of sufficient rigor, depth, and breadth to teach the standards being addressed. 1D. The course architecture permits the online instructor to add content, activities, and assessment to extend learning opportunities. 5B. The course provides opportunities for students to engage in higher order thinking, critical reasoning activities, and thinking in increasingly complex ways. We know as an AVID demonstration school, we have certain strategies and certain skills that we use in order to reach rigor, depth, breadth, and making sure that our courses prepare students for college. Every single one of our courses in middle school prepares students to take an AP course in high school, and that every student takes an AP course while they're in high school and takes a test. The course provides opportunities for students to engage in higher order thinking, critical reasoning activities, and think in increasingly complex ways. We want every student to take the AP test. We also know that all students need to be A through G course recommended. So every class they take has to meet an A through G for the UC A to G requirements. So the course architecture permits the online instructor to add content, activities, and assessments to extend learning opportunities. Not only that, it allows, and we encourage and demand that every course meets the UC A to G requirements. And this allows, this course architecture is one of the key strengths that we have to make sure that every one of our courses is approved. So how we connect our students to Common Core standards. So these are just 3 standards that I think are very strong in what they deliver and provide a lot of feedback to us about the way that this course can go. So 10.2.5, students compare and contrast the glorious revolutions of England, the American Revolution and the French Revolution, and the enduring effects worldwide. Discuss how nationalism spread across Europe with Napoleon, but was repressed by a generation under the Congress of Vienna and the Concert of Europe until the revolutions of 1848. As we look back at the standard, this is a way to encourage students to be very direct and complex in their thinking, to allow students to have higher order thinking. Students compare and contrast the glorious revolution of England, the American Revolution, and the French Revolution, their enduring effects worldwide on the political expectations of self-government and individual liberty. Lists the principles of Magna Carta, English Bill of Rights, American Declaration of Independence, French Declaration of Rights of Man and the Citizen, and the U.S. Bill of Rights. The reason why I addressed this standard, as well as the glorious revolution of England, the American Revolution, and comparing and contrasting the revolutions, is because 10.2.2 is a perfect example of how we can incorporate DBQs onto our online courses. Each one of these documents can be read, can be annotated, and discussed in an online manner. And we know that DBQs are becoming more and more prevalent in AP courses. So we want to make sure that our students are prepped. This is a great standard of how we're going to prep our students for the AP course. Every single one of these documents will be scrutinized, critiqued, analyzed within the course from an online perspective. We are going to have discussions. Students are going to have Socratic seminars, other AVID strategies, fishbowl discussions, using these database questions that will be created by the teacher to deepen student learning. Lastly, students analyze the integration of countries into the world economy and the information, technological and communications revolutions, television, satellites, computers. We think it is very important that students understand how the world economy works and how the world economy is being affected by information, technological advancements, technological advancements and communication revolutions, considering that this will be the generation of students that experiences more change when it comes to technology than any other generation that has existed before. We want to prep them on that. So these are three key standards that are going to be integrated into our course content. While all the other standards are just as important, we chose these three to represent the direction of the course. So next steps for our board. We need to have an approval of a TOSA, a teacher on special assignment. This person will give a salary of $50,000. Responsibilities of the TOSA. These are not all responsibilities, but these are the major headlines. Creating and designing content and curriculum. Coaching teachers in blended learning and online strategies. Attending and running professional developments focused in tech/online learning. This TOSA is going to be a teacher that we take from our site that's at that net. Let me rephrase. We're going to take a TOSA, a person that's on our site currently. We're going to be transitioning them to a different role. This teacher will no longer have a classroom. They will be running the online classrooms. Considering that we already have the online charter of Ingenuity tied with us at O'Farrell, we're going to be using them as well as using our resources to provide students the complete online access. So instead of being blended where they come into the classroom, this will be completely online. We're just going to do world history courses right now because we know that the TOSA that we are going to choose is going to be a social science teacher who's already credentialed, has BITSA completed, their credentials clear, they have a master's in educational leadership and focus in technology integration, and we know that this teacher will be able to design social science courses. We're going to be offering economics, government, world history, and AP US history. So there'll be 4 courses that are designed and implemented. The TOSA will be working with teachers and implementing classroom activities. We're going to be trying to train as many teachers as possible in online learning. We know that this TOSA will have 4 different preps, which is why we chose for this person to have a chance to work with other teachers. So this person won't be creating lesson plans. They're going to be using lesson plans from the other classrooms and transferring them and showing ways on teachers on how to convert these lessons into online learning. So converting the resources they have in the room now into online aspects. So they're not going to be creating everything. They're just going to be modifying it. They're going to be transforming it from a classroom discussion or a classroom activity to an online activity. This TOSA will be coaching teachers in blended and online strategies. They're going to be required to attend professional developments, state-run, state-offered courses. They're going to be offered private professional development. We know that in the budget line, we don't need to increase or talk about devices, considering that we already have Ingenuity, which offers our independent study as well as our completely online for all of our students. And we don't need to have more devices in the room because we're already close to the one-to-one initiative at our school. So in terms of budgeting for equipment, because I know that's one thing we needed to bring up, that is not actually going to need to be addressed by us because we have already built that into the system. So with the current resources we have now, that is not going to be needed to talk about at this board meeting. We'll need to get approval and the implementation of Ingenuity, our 100% online charter, as well as using the devices in the classroom and incorporating that in our LCAP. But back to the point at hand with approving the budget lines for this TOSA. This TOSA will be making sure that they will have paid trainings. After they go to these trainings, they will be returning and teaching the staff. They're going to be running professional developments. Our goal is to have one teacher each year become a TOSA. We'll have one TOSA for elementary next year. So the TOSA this year is going to be training one elementary and one high school TOSA as well. So we're going to pull this social science teacher out of middle school. And next year, he's just going to be running the 4 online social science classes. Then we're going to have 1 in middle school and then 3 in high school? Well, in high school, we're going to have the TOSA coaching other teachers as well, so he's not completely running it, but he is administrating it and training the other teachers on how to use online. So we're going to try to blend the other classes. And this TOSA is going to be coaching and training an elementary and a high school teacher, so that the year after this, we'll have 3 TOSAs incorporating all elementary, all middle, and all high. And then the end goal will be to have 2 TOSAs per academy. For elementary, 2 for middle, 2 for high. And they're going to be designing and modifying curriculum so that it's online, but they will not be creating the curriculum, mainly because we don't have enough time for these people to create math, science, English, language arts, history, social sciences, and all other aspects within their day. We don't want them to create all aspects. We want them to be able to just be the facilitator of the information. Lastly, we're looking for licensing for future courses. So at first, we're going to start off with our own content and then see if that is successful. If it is, we'll see if we can continue so far with it, or if we want to start making licenses to possibly deliver to other classrooms. We're also going to look into possibly purchasing licenses for our site if our TOSAs feel that it is too much work to maintain and design and modify curriculum. So we're going to try it out with our TOSAs on site. We're going to get feedback from them and see what to do with the next step. So how do we measure the results of our students? We're going to use SBOC test scores for a summative assessment. At the end of the year, every student that was in an online course will be taking the SBOC. They're going to be submitting that data to the state, and it will be turned back to us in the next school year. We're going to look at their test scores compared to the test scores of the students in a regular classroom. We're going to compare the data to see how students scored, how they progressed, how they improved. We're going to track the data on each in each class to see if the online students are excelling and progressing as much, or if not more, than students in regular classrooms. The same assessments given to students in class for classroom summative assessments. So since teachers are going to be designing the classwork, and our TOSA will just be this year taking that classwork and converting to online, we're going to have the same actual assessments. So the summative assessments we use in the classroom are database question essays. Our TOSA is going to be converting those into the classroom and making those the summative assessments for the online class. We're then going to take the rubrics and grade the essays one by one. So the essays from the online class and the essays from the classroom class will not be divided. They'll not be different. They're going to be put into the same stack. And then after they're graded anonymously, we don't know which students are which. We're going to look at the scores and see which students are excelling, which students are progressing more. So we're going to have the classroom assessment, our assessments that we design as a school, as well as the state-administered summative assessments. We're going to then be offering surveys and qualitative data sets that will provide us feedback from the stakeholders about the progress. We're going to have feedback from the parents, feedback from the teachers that the TOSA is working with, feedback from the TOSA itself, feedback from the students. We're going to get qualitative data sets through surveys, interviews, and just general forms about how the class went, what can be improved on, what we can improve, what we need to stop, and what we need to continue. So this is how we're going to measure the results for our students. So thank you for letting me come in, talk to this board for this short segment of time, and tell you our plan and hopefully get it approved for this next year. Thank you and have a great night.